if it's locked in, and it is.
Yeah, very good. Still a very good jungler in the current meta. Rogue can now look to lock in their bot lane if they want, or they could go for a jungle plus mid setup, something that we actually see quite a lot. Of course, with the Aatrox open and knowing that Sett is there, okay, they're going to go a completely different direction. Like, it's understandable. I'm never a fan of early picking things like Braum or Tahm Kench. I'm always going to criticize it because I think that bot lanes can really counter it. You just have to be willing to. We already saw the Bard. Like, you've been hearing a lot, maybe on social media, about things like enchanters that can shut it down. I'm a big advocate. I'm surprised they would pick Ezreal into Braum, though. I think that the Braum shield can mitigate a lot of what the Ezreal can do. Really mitigates a lot of his poke.
Fans are really excited about this draft.
Whoa, they love Braum. I'm sorry, audience.
Didn't realize how enthusiastic we'd be. As it gets banned away from Larssen, one of his his most played this split with 2 games. Maybe see Corky down against him as well. He's only played it twice.
Oh wow, Jenax has played a different champion every single game. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, how exciting. All right, well, let's see what they bring out today. The Yasuo going to be taken off the board. Oh, of course, to deny the Gragas Yasuo combo. The great thing about AP junglers is that AD mid laners get to be played, which I think there are a lot of really strong AD mid laners right now. I think Qiyana's really good. We've seen the Qiyana priority drop pretty dramatically after the nerf. Mainly because I think teams really like jungling her, but the nerfs really did hurt her jungle, and you don't really flex it to top, so now she's just a mid lane champion, and no one wants to just first pick Qiyana mid. So,
it definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
But she's still a very strong champion in the mid lane.
Very powerful in the mid lane. We have seen Larssen kind of drop off a cliff as well across the last couple of days. Haven't seen him that
that's
much.
Quite surprising as well, especially seeing as all the pros are telling me that Larssen S tier is so strong. He's so OP right now.
I think the power of Larssen is just self-made. Showed us the power of Larssen in the Fnatic Vitality game yesterday. I think he went 8-0.
Oh my word! Tahm Kench versus Braum. Oh no.
Okay, so we're not going to look bot lane at all this game.
Oh no!
Give us something exciting, Larssen. Give us something spicy in the mid lane.
I don't even understand Tahm Kench plus Ezreal. Because normally you pick Tahm to provide that extra bit of safety.
Yeah.
And I mean, like. I mean, you're a support main, right? Like, Tahm can do fine into Braum, right?
I never played Tahm Kench.
Sure, but as someone who's played Braum, you know that Tahm can do pretty fine into Braum, right?
I don't want to play Braum either, because he doesn't have a hook. I like champions that have a hook or can jump in.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
But yes, I mean, Braum, Tahm Kench does fine into Braum, right? Assuming the only thing is, if you get hit with a Winter's Bite, how'd you get away?
I mean, yeah.
You do get kind of slowed quite consistently, but you can
I mean, I'll be honest, like, I'm not really a fan of the SK draft right now. It seems a little bit all over the place. I think Rogue have a much more well-rounded draft. They have a really strong mid-jungle duo. Aatrox will be fine into the Sett. I think he offers a little bit more in the late game. And I think it's a pretty defensive lane as well. You have good gank setup with the Braum Aphelios on the bot side of the map. But ultimately, Rogue will look to try and snowball this Ryze and then send him off to a side. And with the Cassio banned away, yeah, I think that... I don't like to say that like Team A or Team B has won the draft, but I think in this situation, Rogue have a very favorable or easier to execute draft because all they really need to do is get Ryze to a point where he has 2-3 items and then you can't really stop him in a side lane. The best thing you can do is look to try and utilize the Tahm Kench to try and attack one of the sides. So you bring someone with you, set up a flank, and then you try and shut the Ryze down. But I'm concerned for SK around how they're going to deal with it. Of course, SK do still have quite good poke with their composition. The disengage is pretty good as well because they have things like the Viktor W, the Gragas ultimate, the Ezreal E. There are a lot of ways to keep Rogue at arm's length. And Rogue's engage is not the strongest either. So remember when we talked about scaling potentially being a bit of a slow game? I think that the comps that we're seeing from both sides are not going to lend us to allow a lot of aggression in this game.
You're not really filling me with hope and joy for the action-packed gameplay that I know and love, but we'll see. Rogue and SK have been known to take it slow. Let's see if they speed things up at all this game. They don't need to. We are seeing Jenax on his 8th different champion disc split with the Viktor pick. Was buffed on 10.2, hasn't been changed on 10.3. Well, it was a bug fix that became a buff because of how Viktor was bugged in the past. But SK looking to get another win on the board. Rogue trying to show they deserve to be up at the top of the table. Right now they are sitting at 4-3. Wouldn't be able to match a team like Misfits or G2 today, but could keep themselves up there with the likes of Fnatic if Fnatic drop a game. And on to Summoner's Rift we go. Second game of the day, Vedi, you said it's going to be slow, you said it's going to be scaling. Yep. Is there any ray of hope? Is there any, like, Larssen inspired, jumps out of the jungle and kicks off the action?
You know, I'm just going to say your expectations low. No. No. Cool. I reckon this has the potential. You need to talk to stats real quick. You need to find out when was the latest first blood of the split. I reckon this game has the potential to have the latest first blood of the split.
Okay, let's have a guess. Let's have a guess now, right now. I'm going to say it was 13-22.
That's what you think the latest?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good guess.
That's not how
I would agree. But in any case, while we get that information, I want to draw our attention to some of the runes. You'll notice that Press the Attack is actually being run on Crownshot rather than the Lethal Tempo that we've often seen. The main difference between Press the Attack and Lethal Tempo is that Press the Attack offers a little bit more early game value because once you apply all 3 stacks, you get that additional damage coming out. But Lethal Tempo scales much better into the late game because it scales along with the base attack speed growth that you do have on the Ez as well. One of the main reasons why people are running Lethal Tempo on the champion. You'll also notice that why have I forgotten the name of this? The Sett rune up in the top lane. Help me here, medic. What's the name of the Sett rune up in the top lane that I've completely blanked on?
What, the Aftershock? Aftershock,
thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Aftershock is something that we sometimes see on Sett when you're going for much more of a defensive approach. You can see that he often procs it by utilizing the E, which does apply that small knockup, so it's very easy to grab that defensive tool, but also makes it a lot harder to kill the Sett in the 1v1. Usually it's a lane that you then don't look to play through. You don't want to try and get it ahead. You're playing much more defensively. We also did see this come out from Sacre when he played it yesterday, and it just really offers a lot to your trading pattern. When you land the E initially, you then proc the Aftershock, you get all those resistances, and it's a lot harder for someone like an Aatrox to be able to trade back against you.
So Inspired has been able to go straight from his red buff into the blue buff of SK. Now he has a good flank position as Larssen looks to trade. There's the root. Sonic Wave's going to connect. And Vedius' first blood's coming a lot sooner than you thought it was. Inspired flashes forward. He does not survive. 2 kills in the first 3 minutes.
All right, I was completely wrong. Props to Inspired. Very aggressive jungle pathing. This is not something that we normally see from him. He's a lot more focused on controlling the early game, making sure that he can secure those early scuttle crabs, making sure that he has insight on what the enemy jungler is doing. But he flashed underneath the tower at level 2 to try and get a kill onto Jenax. He burns that flash, and he helps secure his team first blood.
So you want to know how much quicker that was than the longest first blood? 12 minutes and 12 seconds, Vedius.
Alright, fair play, Inspired. He heard I was talking trash and he wanted to shut me up.
Second earliest first blood of the split.
Second earliest. You see, caster curse. It's all part of the mind game.
Is that what you're doing?
See, I set expectations low so that you would be pleasantly surprised.
That's true.
You see, and now you're happy.
My dating strategy as well. Okay, Inspired looking up towards the top side here as they go for this Scuttle Crab. It will be secured by Trick. Unsummer trading onto Crownshot. Doing a little bit of damage with the onslaught. That's Severum Q, but Inspired's in a good position. Remember, Jenax no flash. Larssen could flash root if he wanted. Maybe Inspired just waiting to jump into this bush because there's no ward. There we go. Safeguard's in. Here we go. Jenax, you're going to overstep.
Here comes the root.
Viktor, very low mobility. There comes the root. There comes the Sonic Wave. But a good gravity field coming down, and Jenax will be able to walk away.
Yeah, but he's forced out of lane now. He doesn't have the teleport. Rogue can just force this wave underneath the tower, and they can threaten a dive, which means that Jenax, forced to just disengage, is going to have to give up the whole wave. But notice how Inspired hanging around as we see more fighting in the bot lane.
Yeah, double root coming out on Crownshot and Limit. The Infernum, of course, tags them both up. You can switch across to the Gravitum and get that root off. Limit trying to act as
here comes Trick.
A front man as Trick comes down towards the bottom lane. He heard you talking smack about the late first bloods, Vedius. He wants to get in on the action, but a great flash from Hansama. Vander almost falls. No ignite on Limit. He's running heal. And now the trade comes back. Hansama not going to go any further. Inspired looking for the kick. Can't land it. And SK and Rogue will just both walk away.
Wow. So Trick very close to finding a kill onto Vander there. Only one more hit, and that would have been enough, but weren't quite able to find it. We're seeing a lot of early game action, and again, this caster curse working like a treat right now. So Trick is just able to find a good flanking from behind. Vander and Hansama don't have any vision outside of what they have in the river, and the flash engage comes through, but then just not quite enough damage due to, a very close Q from Crownshot though. Almost helps secure that kill. Thanks for highlighting that one, observers. But yeah, just not quite enough damage on the side of SK to be able to secure that kill. Still though, Hansama sits with a CS advantage in the 2 versus 2, even though Jenax has been put far behind in terms of ganks and pressure. He's still actually ahead in CS. And meanwhile, we have a bit of a pip of some action that happened up in the top lane.
I think Sacre burns his flash here just to get away from Finn.
Ooh, he does. Yep. Very, very low. Fan. Really excited to see that.
Inspired's going to land the Sonic Wave here. The gravity field not in the right place, but Trick perhaps there at the right time. Inspired was able to dodge away from Trick. I think he safeguarded to the side, and meanwhile in the bottom lane, Hans Summer falls. He knew his support wasn't there. That just feels like Hans Summer was being a bit greedy.
Yeah. Seeing some Caps play style there in the bot lane. As the Sacre gets a good trade up in the top side of the map, already completing the Bramble Vest. Ooh, Inspired found a jungler.
Inspired's been all over the map early on here. Now Sacre is 6. Finn yet to ding towards that level 6 mark, yet to get his ultimate. So probably won't want to go too aggressive on this play. However, Larssen, he's on the way. He's got the realm warp. Trick has stayed around.
The wave is too big. Finn will lose too much if they try and force it. So it's not worth it for Finn's perspective to be able to try and force that. So let's have a look at what Hans Summer did. Oh, I think he was just trying to push the wave out and he wasn't expecting to get all in, which, yes, I think it's pretty disrespectful. He ends up losing his life as a result, didn't have his flash available, and now Crownshot's in a great spot, has a level advantage. Vander did roam mid, they did get a kill, but SK holding their own due to the relentless aggression that we've been seeing from Rogue in the early game. I still think that as we move into the later parts, their comp is going to be difficult to execute, again, mainly because of how strong Larssen will be in a side lane.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll have anyone to stop him or mitigate the pressure that he can generate. They will have strong poke, and they will have good disengage tools, and again, Rogue, it's very difficult for them to actually start fights. You know, they have a Braum, they have a Larssen. There's actually no reliable way for them to engage, which could be SK's saving grace when it comes to the late game, because when we compare SK's comp to what Misfits was playing against with Vitality, of course, Misfits had Sejuani and Thresh, so it's very easy for them to actually look for these picks, look for these fights, but Rogue don't have those same tools that they can use in the mid-game to catch out some of these high mobility targets.
And we did talk a little bit about Rogue yesterday, sometimes around the 25, 28 minute mark, making a mistake, going for a little bit too over-eager on a play. And I wonder, without engage tools, whether they might force something a little bit too hard, try to go for a fight where they can't quite find their mark. It's still a long way away, of course, we're only 8 minutes in. And they do have a little bit of a lead. Larssen stealing away the Razor Beaks in that mid lane. He's feeling pretty blue. He's got double mana crystal and a tier. Yeah. Stacking up as quickly as possible on that
the Rod of Ages and Saracen Blaze build. You know, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the mid lane matchup, but of course we had so much action and everybody got the opportunity to. Viktor as a champion used to be one of my mains. I was a big fan of this champion. Yeah. I used to play him a long time ago before a lot of the changes came through because, and I used to run DFG on him. That's how long ago I played.
Yeah, that's a long time. So is it DFG Siphon Power was like your doom boom and the death rate?
No, so the death rate, it did so much burst damage that if you did DFG plus the death rate, you could nearly one-shot people with just that combo. But we might not have time again as we see another fight on the top side.
Showstopper coming out from Sacre. He needs the Haymaker, but he can't get it up in time. Vander there with the kill.
Yeah, Vander applying the passive meant that just as Sacre landed from his ultimate, he got stunned.
Yep.
So he couldn't utilize his Haymaker, the shield that could have maybe turned that around, bought some time for the rest of his team to show up, which means that he ends up losing his life. And Rogue will find themselves another objective. Infernal already taken earlier on. They're going to convert this into the Rift Herald as well. And no TP on Sacre means they could actually just rotate straight to top lane and look to use it very early on if they wanted to.
We'll see if they decide to do that. I think with Vander backing away, you expect Inspired just to take a break, get back to base. He's finished his Warrior Enchant already on that Larssen. He's in a very strong spot. His early game has been powerful. Now a plate will fall here. No one there to collect the gold. No one there to get that little bit of extra cash in their back pocket.
All right. But Viktor.
Viktor?
Yeah, I want to talk about him just a little bit. Because his rune choices, he actually has quite a wide array of choices. Some do go for things like Electrocute if you want burst, very few, but some. More commonly, you'll see things like Airy because it complements his shield on his Q, and you can also see that he's actually running the Phase Rush. Now, the main reason why he's running Phase Rush is to match the mobility that Larssen's running, and it's actually pretty easy to proc because you have the Q application, you then also have the Empowered Auto that you get from your Q, which then gives you bonus movement speed, and you can then hit the E, and then you're running really fast, right? So he can use it as a means to chase targets down, and the bonus movement speed also puts you in front of your targets so that you can actually apply the gravity field far enough away that he actually sets up for those plays of the gravity field. So I think that Phase Rush can actually be a very effective rune on him as well. And normal itemization will look like, as you can see on your screen right now. He's got the first upgrade of the Hex Core, which gives him that empowered E, which assists greatly with the wave clear, but then you need that mana and cooldown reduction. He burns through mana very quickly, and he needs the CDR because of the long cooldowns that he has, especially on his E. So by going for an early Ludens is what you'll often see. It really helps a lot with Viktor in terms of his core itemization.
Not sold on how early they use the Rift Herald up here in the top lane. Sacre could even get a couple of autos down on it. They'll get some plates, but usually you want to use it after you've taken down a plate so that the true damage is fully utilized. And still, they chip away at that tower. The gold will go over towards Finn. Inspired and Vander off towards this mid lane. Limit's going to get caught with a Sonic Wave, but pretty tanky on the Tahm Kench, can just walk away. He's actually gone Mercury Treads here on TK instead of Moby Boots. Means that he can get out of the Rune Prison, get away from the Gravitum stun as well. Just makes it a bit easier for you to position properly to keep people safe.
I guess it's fine.
I understand why he's done it. The extra tenacity does help. Now, Realm Warp was used. Trick. Yeah. Yeah.
He's not getting out of that one.
It was good play by Rogue.
I love the use of the Ryze ultimate to set up the flank. And then the Lee Sin setup as well, set up for a very easy kill. Good deep vision coming out from Rogue to secure that kill.
That's good stuff. They have Inspired's actually been in a great position a lot of this game, getting that vision in, helping out his team. You can hear the fans are very enthusiastic about this early game.
Very enthusiastic.
I'm very enthusiastic because we have 6 kills before the first blood threshold that we were expecting. Larssen in a good spot already on this Ryze as well, out CSing Jenax, about 10 farm ahead. And Rogue won't be going anywhere right now.
The first time I've heard someone like, we've got a pause! Yes! Oh, I'm so excited! Thanks, audience. You're great fun today. So, I'm not quite sure what the pause is. I'm sure we'll find out soon.
Yeah, we'll find out.
The fact that the camera's on Larssen heavily suggests that it may be Larssen.
It could be him, but let's not paint our
jump to conclusions. Let's not jump to conclusions.
What? Count our chickens. I said paint. I don't understand why you ever paint a chicken. Yeah.
I mean, if you enjoy painting and you wish to paint a picture of a chicken, that's perfectly reasonable.
Exactly. Which painter would come first, the chicken painting or the egg painting? The important question. We are about to get back on into the game.
I hate you so much.
We're going to get back on into the action videos. Let's talk about League of Legends.
Yeah.
For a little while. What are the next steps we expect to see here from Rogue?
I mean, well, Drake is alive, so that'll probably be the most obvious choice. You can already see the mid is being pushed in from Larssen. That forces Jenax to catch the wave. Larssen with the level advantage means that he, along with Inspired and the bot lane, can easily move up to set up for this. With both Infernal and Mountain being taken off the board, we're looking at a Cloud or an Ocean. I think Rogue would much rather take the Ocean, just because I don't think they gain as much value from the cooldown reduction on the ultimates, considering most of them are actually pretty low anyway.
It's going to be a Cloud, though. A Crownshot jumping onto Vander here as Limit's on the chase. Vander can stand beside Inspired and back away. Even with a True Shot Barrage, it's not going to do too much. And I do think we're starting to see a little bit of one of SK's weaknesses, which is they're not an incredibly proactive team. You said it in Pick and Ban, they tend to rely on the enemy team to make mistakes.
I mean, it's also really hard for them to force things right now because of the comps that they've drawn for themselves. Why do I always forget it's the Mana Mune and the Muramana that I always confuse the two on. He currently has the Mana Mune.
He does.
And that's not a great item at this point in the game, right?
True.
Ezreal's only level 9. He's relatively weak. And of course, while he is ahead of Hans Summer, I don't think they want to force the fight right now when you have a Rod of Ages completed and Inspired already has his Warrior enchantment. So they prefer to play on the defensive for now. Things like the Trinity Force being completed is what you're looking for, but often what we will see is an early priority on the Trinity Force while the tier just sits in your inventory, and then you upgrade that item later on the Ezreal, so you hit that item spike sooner. So probably because he's playing with the Viktor, and he knows that an early Bramble Vest has come out from Sacre, he still believes that he'll hit that Trinity Force around the same time as the core itemization from the other two, and then you'll be in a fine spot.
But you can see Trick spending time down around that bottom lane looking for a gank has really cost him his entire topside jungle and this turret. Sacre had to back all the way away, even went back to base. They give up the tower in the top lane. Rogue get the first turret of the game. And now Trick is like, well, I've got no red buff, I've got no Krugs, I've got no Razor Beaks. May as well gank. Or look to see if he can find one. Inspired realizes that could be the case and is just waiting around the river bend here. Doesn't even need it. Backs away. There's a 1,000 gold, 1,700 gold lead in that top lane now for Finn. And he's got 5 stacks on that Cull. Just about to finish that. So Finn is in an incredible position right now.
It's funny because for anyone that was able to watch game 1 as well as game 2, you get to see the stark contrast of what happens when you invest in Sett versus when you don't. When he's forced to play in an isolated matchup, he doesn't gain the same priority that he normally would. And by going for the Aftershock, you don't have the same trading power that you normally get from a Conqueror. So Finn is allowed to play so much more aggressively, but of course he's also got his jungler playing towards the top side. And top lane is so influenced by jungle presence that you can see how it's so much benefited Finn and how strong he is. And we saw how he carried yesterday on the Aatrox. He's now in a great position to be able to do that again today.
Rogue here able to defend bot side even while they get the Rift Herald on top. They're 3,000 gold ahead, and I have to admit I'm a little disappointed in a few of these plays by SK, because they set up vision around bottom side. They don't really pressure hard enough to get the turret. It's defended just by Finn, who's strong enough to defend in a 1v3. Vander came and helped him out in the end, but they give up the dragons, they give up the Rift Heralds. They're really not taking anything for themselves. And as you said, it is hard for them right now. They'll be waiting for that first spike, but I wonder if they'll take the game into their hands at that point, or if they'll be too far behind.
Well, so the problem that SK has is that usually, even if you're in losing matchups, you can move around the map in a way so that you trade. Like, okay, fine. If we know we're going to lose our bot tower, we'll go topside and we'll trade it for Rift Herald so we can get some of the plates back. If we know we're going to lose Drake, we'll trade it for a Herald, right? So normally you can do that, but SK is often responding to the pressure being generated by Rogue rather than actually trying to generate pressure themselves. You can see Sacre is now left isolated in the top lane. No one's even moving yet.
Yeah, on this play, Rogue, obviously, give them credit for their positioning on the map as Trick perhaps looks for a fight. Rogue have played the lane assignments well, but they pressured with 2 in mid, they put a Rift Herald up in top, and SK lose both the top tower and the mid tower while not defending anywhere. Now Rogue are actually going to look to catch out Jenax here in the bottom lane as well. They're the ones making the play. They're the ones taking the game into their own hands. And I wonder if Jenax is going to be able to survive here. It looks like with the Chaos Storm he will. Clears out the wave and Rogue just back away.
So Rogue doing what they often do within the first 20 minutes of the game, have very clean map movements, have very good control over the map state, and they manage their minion waves very well. They're very good at utilizing the priority that they have, and we talked about it in draft. We said that this game is largely going to be about, can Rogue get Larssen into a position where he can carry on a side lane? And you can already see from the gold difference, thank you very much, observers, for highlighting the fact that the mid difference is pretty huge, right? About a 1,000 gold difference, and when we switch back to the items, we can see how that's translating. 2 items now done for the Ryze. You also have the Merc Treads completed as well. In the top lane, Finn working towards his death stance. Nearly completed. Trinity Force nowhere near done yet for Sacre, not done yet for Crownshot. So Rogue is already in a power position before SK's comp has actually even been able to come online. When they get the Trinity Forces completed, maybe then they can look for a fight, but it seems like Rogue is going to get an opportunity before that as SK start off the Drake.
Feels like SK are done with the patient game. They will force the Cloud Drake. Rogue decided they're not in the position to go for it. They don't want to force the fight. They can just continue to gain advantages. A single Drake doesn't really cost them too much.
I think that this time SK were just first on the play in that situation, and I thought it was more dangerous for them, but a good use of the gravity field from Jenax zoned Rogue away, making it harder for them. Jenax now needs to be careful. The risk of a collapse is very real, but again, he's going to invest everything to help clear the wave.
Now Storm coming out, Larssen flashing forward for the Rune Prison. There's the Sonic Wave and Inspired. 3 on the board for the Rogue jungler now.
And now with the wave clear dead and nothing that Jenax can really do, it makes it very easy for Rogue to invest resources into this bot tower and finally open up the map completely against SK Gaming.
6,000 gold lead for Rogue coming up to that 20-minute mark. That was the first kill we've had in about 10 minutes or so, so perhaps we've entered that scaling portion of the game that we were promised in Pick and Ban. Slow and steady for Rogue, but that's what they need to do.
Ryze has a fully stacked Seraph and it's 19 minutes into the game.
And a 6-stack Rod of Ages.
No one can kill Larssen. We're at that point now, mate.
Already?
Yeah. I mean, like, he just won't die. Like, he's so strong.
So how much do you think SK would need to invest to kill Larssen? How many players?
Probably 3 at a minimum.
And I assume 2 of those has to be damage dealers. So it couldn't be like Limit, Crownshot, and Trick.
No, I mean, like, I think
Trick still does damage.
Yeah, I think you would be. I don't know. I'm just saying you need a lot of stuff to kill him.
I understand that.
Because like, when you look at his gold, he's only he has the same as Finn in the top lane. He's level 13 already. And he's got like 1,600 more gold than Jenax. Like that's like half an item, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how further ahead he is from his opposition. And yeah, the jungler's extreme. Like the whole top side from Rogue is so strong. Like we did see Hansama die in a 1 versus 2 in the bot lane, but again, it's all about resource investment, and Rogue have invested their jungle attention into mid and top, and it has paid off extremely well for them. And now SK is in this slump where I don't think they really outscale. Again, the only thing I talked about where they have an opportunity is it's challenging for Rogue to engage, but you don't necessarily need to engage if you just play the map very well.
Yep.
And yeah, you also are in a better position to play the 1-4, where you can actually invest your players into the Baron, while you send the Ryze to the bot side of the map, and then you create this 1-3-1, 1-4 split push setup, which SK won't have an answer for. So that's how Rogue can pretty much break open the game.
SK may be looking at their inventories right now, though, and saying, okay, Trinity Force on Sacre, Trinity Force complete on Crownshot, the Mura mana fully stacked up. It may be too little too late, but this is the point at which you say, this is the strongest we're going to get relative to Rogue, probably. The further the game goes on... Oh, see? That's some damage. That's some damage.
He's your problem.
Yeah, but if you kill everyone else, Larssen can't 1v5.
I mean, fair. All right, I will give you that. All Rogue need to do is just not die everywhere else. But I love the fact that Inspired is also playing through Larssen, making it even easier for him to generate pressure. Hansama and Vander are just acting as wave clear, and he's just hovering him, giving him that extra bit of support. If someone shows up, they go for the kill. Jenax is acting as wave clear right now, which is the thing that's blocking Larssen, because Jenax can also invest his ultimate into stopping the Ryze from getting close to the tower. Hansama taking a lot of damage. He's probably going to base now.
SK could just force. As soon as they see Inspired here, Realm Warp coming out. Larssen goes forward. I mean, SK could force Baron if they really wanted to.
I don't think they can.
I mean, okay. I'm not saying it's a good play. I'm saying it is a good play.
Usually when you say they could do this, it's usually because it makes sense.
Well, they could make a play towards Finn, and Finn could just walk away.
So they're going to invest... Oh, okay, so this is actually great timing for SK because Larssen has just based, which means they should be able to get this tower for free. But, of course, what this also does is it guarantees Rogue priority in mid, but they're not going to use it. They're going to look for a collapse instead. But Larssen doesn't have ultimate, so you can't really close the gap yet. You need to go back to mid lane, because you're not going to get anything top. You can invest it into the river vision if you want to, but Drake is also spawning soon, so that may be your next primary objective.
If Rogue get the dragon, they put that clock on as well for the Cloud Soul.
Yep.
Not the most impactful, I mean, it still does obviously have...
I mean, it also spawns the Elder, which is the really impactful part. Having movement speed on Larssen is also going to be useful in the side lane.
And ultimate cooldown, bring those waves forward even quicker.
I would say it's less useful, but yes. I mean, like, having stats is always useful. Yes. I just think that those stats...
all I want you to tell me, Vedius. All I want you to say is, yeah, 20% cooldown on your ultimate is pretty effective.
Yeah, but, like... that's like saying, like, having AP on Braum is... in a way useful, but it's not really. Like, it's not that valuable, is it?
Okay, but here the only option is take the dragon or don't take the dragon as the fight begins in the mid lane. Glacial Fisher coming out. Vander's actually gone quite low. Hansama with the Moonlight Vigil. Finn off towards the side, has a flank position. Sacre already down, and now Tricky shot it to follow Finn. Found the flank TP. Jenax here way too late. Finn continues to chase forward. Jenax going to try and put some damage down if he can. Vander able to walk away.
So, SK want to be in a position where they could contest the Cloud Drake, but Rogue answer back in kind, and they find a successful fight. They don't even have Larssen in the fight, yet they still absolutely demolish SK. With Trick dead, Rogue are actually going to start off the Baron, which I think is a smart priority. With this, it makes it a lot easier to siege onto the base of SK. And we talked about how Cloud, not the most valuable for their comp, which means they're just securing this objective will offer Rogue a lot more and make it easier to close out the game sooner.
Nicely secured there by Rogue. 24 minutes in, they're going to realm walk towards mid and go down towards that Cloud.
Well, yeah, they can also get the Drake on top of it. I like the fact that they did go for the Baron first. So when we get the replay up, we can see how this fight actually kicked off. So it's actually SK that wants to try and get this collapse off. They have the numbers advantage. Vander acting as good disengage, but then the flank comes in from Finn. Doesn't even need to use his teleport. Everyone is separated away from Sacre, so he's the first to be shut down. And then Finn basically solo kills Strick on the backside. The TP from Jenax is far too late. There's nothing that he can do to offer support to the rest of his team. And this was just a fight that SK thought they could win, but Finn is just too strong.
Trick deciding not to use his ultimate or his flash in that fight. Sacre didn't have the time to use the showstopper, so when you're not able to find those picks, find those connections, it's very difficult for you to fight. And Rogue are doing what Rogue have done this split. Separate the map up, get Larssen into a side lane on this Ryze, really pressure. And you can see it's already 2 players from SK trying to deal with that Ryze, who's level 16, has a Banshees now alongside the fully stacked Rod of Ages. Hansama sitting at 2 items with the Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge. Probably the weakest of the Rogue carries right now.
This is the other thing about Braum. He's also really good at shutting down the wave clear from Viktor as well. The shield completely mitigates his death ray, and it also mitigates the poke and damage from Ezreal. So that's kind of why I was surprised to see those, or at least the Ezreal pick in draft, but we're also now seeing how good it is against the Viktor as well. And Rogue just playing through all 3 lanes right now, slowly but surely breaking into the base of SK.
Just wait for these next waves to push in. Bot lane is where Larsen's gonna go. Finn still off towards that top side. True shot barrage. Finds a whole lot of nothing in the mid lane. But SK are trying to engage here with the Predator. Finn will realize all of SK are in the mid lane and can push in. Inspired and Larssen off towards bot side. And turret goes down to about half HP. Larssen can pop the Realm Warp if they want. Doesn't need to. Finn's just there pushing in. Sacre gonna come over and try and answer this. Oh, good flash from Finn away from the face breaker, and now Rogue can push in mid. Larsen's still down towards the bottom side. Crownshot going forward. Lands a Mystic Shot. Gets a Moonshot in return, and see the damage coming out from Hansama with those crits. The root comes out as well. Moonlight Vigil's not going to be enough as Larssen and Inspire go down. Trick flashing forward, gets the knockback onto Larssen, but the damage just isn't there. No one can kill him, as you say, Vedius. Chaos Storm coming out. Larssen almost falls, unable to survive as eventually he does go down. Jenax now going to get chased in as Hansama and Vander join the party. Finn off towards the top, comes in for a little bit of dessert on this delicious cake of a game. Double kill for Hansama. Crownshot getting chased out by Finn on his signature Aatrox. And you have to feel this is the game. 13 seconds left on Trick. The inhibitor's going to fall in this bottom lane. Crownshot eats a Moonshot and it's just forced back. Even with the True Shot barrage. Oh, great block there by Vander. And the Nexus Towers next on the menu here for Rogue. Sitting 4 and 3, trying to get up towards the top of the table with this win. Vander flashes forward, Crownshot jumps away, but really Trick and Crownshot can't do anything about this. Rogue will take the Nexus, and they will take down SK in dominant fashion after they fountain dive just for a little bit more. 5 and 3 Rogue are at the end of week 4.
Well, huge props to Inspired this game. Defied my expectations, extremely aggressive, heavily ganked the mid lane, was involved in every single kill this game. 4, 2, and 7, 11 kills in total for Rogue. Props to him. He is someone that I don't think he's been a bad jungler this split. I just think he hasn't been a very gank-heavy jungler this split. He's not someone that's focused on trying to snowball through his lanes. He's been very much about counter-ganking, covering, investing in farming, getting deep vision. Like, he's one of those more methodical junglers, cerebral junglers, as some would call. But this game, he was all about, like, yeah, gank, 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 gank. And
it worked out.
He made so many of them work out as well. The only criticism we could really throw towards Rogue is Hansama dying in the bot lane. But outside of that, they've had a very clean game, and it's kind of what we've come to expect from Rogue. They didn't make that small fumble that they often do around the 25-28 minute mark, but yeah, it's difficult to criticize.
Yeah, I mean, the game didn't get to 28 minutes, so perhaps they were waiting for another 30 seconds before they made the fumble. You can vote for Kia Player of the Game at LEC on Twitter. Inspired, Larssen, and Vander are your options. Pretty sure I know who I'd give it to, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Make up your own minds. Think your own thoughts. Free will. Is it a thing? Possibly. But might not be.
And of course, commiserations to SK. Still 2 and 7. Hopes for playoffs are not 2 and 6 rather. They're not. Wait, 2 and 6? Yeah, 2 and 6.
2 and 6,
yeah, their hopes for playoffs are not completely dashed, but we can see some of the problems that we're still seeing from them, where they don't have that same level of proactivity. I wasn't really a fan of their comp. I don't think it gave them a lot of options. I think that it was too focused on scaling. They had no one to answer in the side lane, and I think it ended up hurting them overall. We can see a bit of a replay look back at some of the action that happened at the very end. Larssen, of course, did die, but you can see, like, we said it, what, took at least 3 people to kill him? I'd say that was 3.
Yeah. I'd agree with you there, Vedius.
But Inspire doing a really good job as well. With the arrival of Hansama and then Finn from the flank, it was pretty much just a clean-up fight from the side of Rogue. And it sucks to say, but SK basically didn't do anything this game. They just kind of slowly watched the game fall apart. And when you're a team sitting at the bottom of the standings, that's the opposite of what you want to be doing. I look at Misfits as great inspiration as a team that when they were going up against G2, they fought toe-to-toe with G2, and I feel like you need to kind of take that inspiration, you need to take that approach when playing at the bottom of the set, because you kind of have nothing to lose.
Got to take the ball by the horns.
And that's kind of why I'm a big fan of Vitality's playstyle, and why like I think that they're playing better than what their score necessarily represents, because we are seeing a lot of proactive plays in the early game. We are seeing them trying to do a lot of things. It's just they can't keep that level of consistency. They can't hold on to that gold lead as they transition into the mid-game where things start to fall apart for them. And for SK, I hope that they can find that proactiveness that they're looking for. Still second half of the split to go. So we'll see if they can turn things around.
We'll see if they can. For now, we're going to hand it over to Law and Vander, who are standing by.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Vander, for joining me after the game. That was a very different road compared to last week. You went from going 0-2 to 2-0. What was different for you guys?
Well, I think the main difference was enemy teams. Last week we played G2 and Mad Lions, which are both really good teams, and twice they had Soraka. And this week we played Schalke and SK, which are, I mean, they're just weaker teams than Mad Lions and G2, so it was way easier week for us.
Strength shot schedule, then we'll talk about this during the last question because you have big things to prove next week, I think. But first, I want to follow up on the interview we had during week 1 with Hansama. I want to know, how is the synergy between you two going? Did you improve as a duo?
For sure, I think we play way better right now with Hans. I think we had sloppy games in week 2, especially in scrims, but we try to find out how to play together, and I think we are pressuring our enemies quite hard recently.
How about the rest of the team? Being the most experienced player within this rogue lineup, what's your take on your team's progress as a whole?
I'm not sure if we have any strong team identity. I think we are quite good in early game, and we have a lot of leads, and we often throw them. That's our identity right now, I guess. So I think we have to work on our mid-late game right now and how to close our leads.
And you still have time to do it. I mean, we're barely halfway through the split, so how would you rank Rogue right now compared to the other lineups?
And also the biggest improvement is the Soraka ban, I think.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering, is this a community thing, or do you just don't like the champions? Because you didn't ban Soraka so far. So.
No, I mean, we didn't ban them we didn't ban her last week, and we lost twice against her, so we learned. And this week, she was banned.
Learn and learn. And now, about next week, you'll be facing Misfits and Fnatic, if I'm not mistaken. You were mentioning the strength of schedule for last week. What do you think about next week, then?
Yeah, so next week is quite hard, honestly. Fnatic is a good team, and it's always someone you have to do your best to beat. And Misfits is playing quite hot recently. I think they are much weaker than Fnatic, and this will be an easier opponent. But in general, we're going to play 2 strong teams next week.
Interesting, and I wish you guys good luck on that. Now, last question. Okay. G2 wants to take their revenge after the defeat yesterday. Who is going to show up, Claps or Craps?
Perk said on stream that Craps is not coming today to the studio, so I believe him.
We'll see that after the break. What do you think, Caps?
Craps has gone on vacation. Claps is back for Schalke.